and Charlo, and that's going to be Jermell Charlo as well too. Going head up in undisputed versus undisputed. Charlo is the undisputed 154 super welterweight champ, junior middleweight champ, while Canelo is the 168 super middleweight champ. So this should be a very, very fun fight. It's a fight that's years in the making, but Ugas Barrios is a WBC eliminator. We all know that for the WBC interim, Mario Barrios fought Keith Thurman and lost a unanimous decision, 12 rounds in that fight. So now Barrios is still around. Ugas has been off for some time. Ugas hasn't fought since last April when he fought against Spence, because he's still recovering, because he had to recover from a broken eye socket. Mario Barrios, his last fight was a few months ago in San Antonio, and he was able to succeed in that fight and have himself a good night and actually get back in the win column via knockout, what he's known for. And pretty much Mario Barrios took on great challenges. That's why Mario Barrios has kind of been, thrown to the wayside a little bit, but he's still getting big fights because he's a really great fighter. And I think that he really did his career a disservice when he couldn't make 140 anymore. He was destined to be the WBA champ at 140, but what happened is that he got too big for the division, and he did win the WBA title there. And I was at the fight that night that he had. That was an absolute excellent fight. One of the top 5 fights I've ever seen in my life at Staples Center. That was a big night for him. Also, watching him beat Carl in San Antonio as well. But you know what? This guy is amazing because he took on challenges that he didn't need to. He took on Tank Davis for his 140 belt, and there were a lot of stipulations and things that were put into play that he never complained about, and it gave him the platform to fight in a big, big, big fight. And that was in Atlanta. It was on pay-per-view. It was a sellout. It was a big, big viral moment as well, too. He did get knocked out in the fight, but at the end of the day, he was very, very good in this fight, and he didn't do anything that said that he couldn't be a guy that could still keep winning championships. In reality, he was actually up on a few scorecards as well, too. So, Mario Barrios is a very tough fighter, and I felt like he gave Keith Thurman a very good scrap for a guy returning to the ring after a few years, because in reality, the injuries and the excuses that Keith Thurman had, honestly, Barrios should have cooked him, but he didn't. You know what I mean? But he still was able to be very formidable in the fight as well. So that looks really good for Barrios, and I tend to favor him going into this fight because he's been more active. Ugas has been paid. Ugas got big money in the Pacquiao fight. He got big money in the Spence fight. And you know what? Guys like him, they've achieved everything that they needed to achieve in boxing, but they're just doing it for the love of the sport now. You know what I mean? They're doing it because this is all they know how to do. This is the one thing that you know how to do. You have to understand, Yordenis is a Cuban immigrant, okay? And he trained, practiced, trained and practiced boxing his whole life, okay? And this is all he truly knows. This is what he loves. And you know what? In reality, after that injury, you would pretty much retire from the sport. But with him, there is no retirement from the sport. He wants to give back to winning titles again. And it starts with fighting Mario Barrios on the 30th of September. So this is going to be a fight that is truly set up to be one of those fights that really determine the future of one of these great pugilists, And I truly do feel that Mario Barrios will have his big redemption moment in this fight against Ugas, who's a guy that's pretty easy to hit, but Ugas is a very, very technical fighter, and he's a guy that will get into firefights with you, and he tries to win those firefights every time as well, too. And that's what really gives him the edge a lot of times in the fights that he does have, especially when he fought Sean Porter right in front of me. And I had him winning 116, 112, but he wound up losing that night. Everybody knows. So, pretty much this is a great fight. I look forward to it. I think that all of us will be very entertained. And this is the right type of co-main event for the Canelo Charlo fight as well, too. You got two well-known fighters going at it, and they're fighting for a WBC eliminator as well, too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and